Hi everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we will discuss about memory management in the Linux kernel. So let's get started. So this is the content that I will be discussing in this video. So we will discuss about uh, pages, zones and the k-malloc function. And then we will discuss about the slab allocation in the Linux kernel. And at the end, we will discuss how we can choose between the different methods available. So like in the user space, we have freedom to allocate and deallocate the memory according to our choices because there is kernel to take care of everything. But in the kernel space, kernel don't have that much freedom because there is no one to take care of the kernel. And in the kernel, it can't handle much of the memory allocation errors. And also kernel has to run always, so it can't sleep. So uh, in the kernel, memory is managed by the memory management unit. So the memory management unit uh, deals the memory in the pages, but you can know that the processor don't need memory in the size of pages. It needs in the size of bytes or words. So kernel deals with the memory in the page sizes. So we need some structure to represent the actual pages on the disk, which we call it as the physical pages. So for that purpose, we have a structure called struct page, and it maps the physical pages to the memory management unit that kernel can use. So this is the structure of page. So it contains different members. So the flags tells the state of the page, like it is dirty or it is locked in the memory. The count member tells the number of processes currently using this particular page, and this m map count tells the number of uh, page table entries. Similarly, we have this virtual member. It tells the virtual memory of this particular page. And this is the list of recently used pages in the memory. So as we have discussed here, this the count variable, we can't access it directly. So we have to access it with the help of this page count function. So when the count of a particular page is -1, that means that page is free and currently no process is using it. So this function internally detects that the page count is -1. So it returns 0. That means the page is free. When it returns positive value, that means page is not free and some process is currently using it. So for the flexibility of allocation of the pages required by the different processes, kernel maintains different memory zones so that according to the requirement of a process, it can allocate that particular page. So here we can see that we have different 4 zones. So first zone is zone DMA. That means it contains the pages which are DMAbles. DMAbles means uh, DMA is direct memory access. That means the processor won't be involved in the memory accesses in the DMA zone. And this is the DMA 32. It is specific for 32-bit systems. And this is the zone we mostly use because generally we need the general allocation of the pages. And this is the zone for specifically for high memory, and high memory is the memory that is not automatically or always mapped in the memory management unit. So based on the requirement, we map this high memory area. So this helps the kernel to allocate memory uh, to different processes as their requirements, and it is totally dependent on the architecture. So we can implement different zones depending on our architecture. So when we allocate a page from a particular zone, then we can allocate that particular page from a particular zone. Or if we want to allocate multiple pages, then we can page some allocate some pages from one zone and some pages from another zone. But we can't allocate a single page from different two different zone. Like we can't allocate the half of the page into the zone DMA and half of the page in the high memory. So the single page should be from a single zone. So this is the structure of the uh, zone. So here I have highlighted the few important fields. So this is the name of the zone and this is the lock by which this zone is protected from the concurrent access. And this watermark tells the minimum low and high watermark. So it tells uh, how much memory for particular zone it can consume. So it tells how much memory is free in that particular zone, and accordingly it deals with the allocation process. So let's discuss the different interfaces available in the kernel to get the pages. So here we have a specific function called alloc pages. So with the help of this, we can allocate the number of pages. So it takes two parameters. This is the flag and this is the order. Order means like if you want to allocate 8 pages, then you can specify order as 3. So it will do like 2 to the power 3 and it will calculate to 8. So it will allocate the 8 pages and it will return the address of the first page. And if we want to know the logical address of that allocated memory, then we can use this function page address. So it will return the uh, logical address of the particular page. Similarly, we have this function get underscore free underscore pages. So it returns the address of the first allocated page, and it will also allocate the number of pages required by the process. If our requirement is to allocate only one page, then we can use this function. And here we have to specify the flag, what kind of allocation we want. We will discuss about this GFP flags in the coming slides in detail. So GFP stands for get free pages. So if we want to get the page which is filled with zeros, then we can use this function. So why this function is required? Because sometimes the most of the time the pages are reused. So if we are reallocating a particular page that had some sensitive information, then at that time that information will go into the user space and it can compromise the system. So we require sometimes to zero the page before allocation. So similarly for deallocation, we have different functions like free pages, and here we have to give the address of the first page and the order. So accordingly, it will deallocate the number of pages mentioned with these parameters. If we want to deallocate the single page, then we can run this function. So here it is worth noting that we have to provide the correct page address or the pointer to the address, because if we are giving the wrong address, then it will deallocate the memory of the other process and it can lead to a corruption in the kernel. So let's now discuss if our requirement is that we want to allocate memory in the terms of byte, then we have a specific function called kmalloc. So here we have to provide the number of bytes we want to allocate and the flag, as we have already discussed. in the page allocation. So here we are not allocating the pages, we are allocating memory in the size of bytes. So whenever we allocate the address, we have to check if our allocation is successful or not. If our allocation is not successful, then we have to handle that error accordingly. So let's now discuss the long pending flag, GFP flag types. So these flags specify three kind of modifiers. So first one is action modifiers, second one is zone modifier, and third one is type modifier. So these flags can be of different type, and we can group them, group multiple flags in the single allocation by ORing them. So here you can see we have three flags. This one is GFP underscore wait, GFP IO, GFP FS. We will discuss each of them in coming slides. So in this way, like here, I am again giving the example of KMLOC. So here I am specifying the size, and then we have grouped three flags into the single allocation. So the action modifiers tells the memory allocator what it can do while allocating the memory. So here we will see this one. So GFP wait, here it is saying that when allocator is allocating the memory, it can sleep. That means our allocation can take more time. Similarly, this function, this flag tells allocator that you can allocate memory from the high memory region. And similarly, this GFP underscore FS tells when you are allocating the memory, you can start an file system IO operation for allocation of the particular memory. Similarly, we have different other flags. So let me discuss this GFP underscore cold. That means it is saying allocator that I need specific pages, and those should be in the should be cold pages. So cold pages are the pages that are free pages, but they are not mapped into the cache. So it need those kind of pages specifically. And some similarly, we have this repeat. So it will try to allocate the memory. If it is not successful, then it will again retry. And very similar to this GFP repeat, we have no fail. So it will continuously check if our memory is allocated or not. Until it is not allocated, it will keep trying again and again. And this is the zone modifier flags. So here it tells if we are specifying that GFP underscore DME, that means we want our allocation only from the zone DMA. And similarly, you can understand from the definition itself. So if you want, so like if we are specifying GFP underscore high mem, so its first preference would be that it will allocate the memory from the zone high memory. If it does not get that memory from this high memory zone, then it will try to provide the memory from the zone normal. So let's discuss the flag type flags. So here most of the cases we only use two flags, this GFP underscore atomic and GFP underscore kernel, and this is the most widely used flag. So in GFP atomic, it tells that when you are allocating a memory, it is a high priority and we don't have to sleep. So we can use this kind of flag in the interrupt context, because it in the interrupt context we don't want to sleep. And this GFP underscore kernel is the normal allocation, and it while allocating the memory, the allocator can sleep. So this is mostly suitable for the process context. And in this case, we don't have much of the restrictions. So here we have much more chances that we will get the required memory. And as it is saying, this flag should be your default choice. So in most of the kernel allocations, we use this gfp underscore kernel flag. And for similarly, you have gfp underscore dma. So it will try to allocate memory from the zone dma. So we have discussed different kind of flags. So let's discuss which flags should we use for the our allocation. So like we have discussed that in the process context, and if it can sleep, then we have to use this GFP kernel flag. And if we need uh, the memory in the process context and we don't want to sleep, then we can use GFP atomic. And similarly, as we have already discussed, for interrupts, software queues, and tasklets, we have to use GFP underscore atomic. And for DMAble memory, and it can sleep, so we can specify for DMAble memory, and then we can use GFP underscore kernel so that it can also sleep whenever it is required. So here you can see that we are grouping two flags as a one flag. So let's see what this GFP kernel flag consists of, because it is most important. So here you can see that it is combination of the three flags. So first it is saying that our allocator can sleep, and it is saying that it can also start the disk IO. And here it is also saying that while allocation, it can also start the file system IO. So there is difference between the file system IO and the disk IO. So when we access memory directly from the disk, that is called as the disk IO. And when we use the file system to access some file or do some IO operation, then we call it as the file system IO. So there is basic difference that when we use the FS, that means uh, if the memory is not if the memory is not available in the FS, then it can lead to the disk IO. So whenever we access the file system, it doesn't mean that it will access the disk. So the FS IO operations can lead to the disk IO. So this is the counterpart of the kmalloc function. So whatever memory we have allocated with the help of kmalloc function, we can free that memory with the help of this kfree function. So here we have to specify the pointer of the allocated memory. So similar to the kmalloc, we have vmalloc function. So what is the difference between kmalloc and vmalloc? So in the kmalloc, we allocate memory that is continuous in the physical address space. But vmalloc tries to allocate the memory that is continuous in the virtual address space. So you may have heard of malloc, and we have discussed about kmalloc. So what is the difference between them? So like the kmalloc is used in user and kernel space, and uh, it tried to allocate the free memory. It can be anywhere. But kmalloc works only in the kernel space, and it ensures that the memory is allocated which is physically continuous. So these are the two functions, and we have the opposite of vmalloc, vfree, similar to kfree. So it will free that particular memory. And these two functions can sleep, so we can't use them in the interrupt context. So we malloc is used when it is already very important, because uh, like uh, like we have to use the large memory allocation, or we need to allocate memory in the module dynamically, because when we allocate the memory with the help of vmalloc, then we have to maintain the page table because our memory is not continuous in the physical space. So this is the overhead for the kernel to maintain the page table so that it can accordingly access the actual physical location of the particular page. So as we have discussed that in the kernel space, we have to frequently allocate and deallocate the memory. So for the efficient accessing and allocation and deallocation, kernel maintains a slab allocator. So it tries to uh, specify the cache for a specific kind of objects. So let's take the example of process descriptor. Process descriptor, or you can say inode structure. So it will maintain a cache specific for a specific type of structure. So let's assume this cache is for inode structures. So it will contain the free space for the allocation of the inode structures. So for that cache, we have multiple slab allocator layer or slab allocator. So it provides it contains the mapping of different objects. These are the, for this example, these are the different inode structure. So this slab allocator will provide the memory for this inode whenever it is required by the process. So it will make sure that it fulfills the requirement of each process, and it allocates and deallocates, and it maintains the free space and the allocated space. So the each cache in the slab allocator we represent with the help of this kmem underscore cache structure. So it contains three list. This is slab full, slab partial, slab empty. So whenever it has to fulfill the memory uh, memory requirement, it will try to try to fulfill with the help of this empty list available. So here you can see this is the pointed this is the structure of the list. So it contains all the three kind of uh, list: full, partial, and empty. And this is the pointer to the first allocated object in the slab, sorry, first object in the slab. And this is the number of objects currently in the use, and this is the object free of location of the free object. So if we want, so these are the different interfaces for uh, using the slab allocator. So with the help of this function kmem underscore create under kmem underscore cache underscore create, so we can create the cache for a specific type of objects. We can provide the name, we can provide the size, and we can provide the alignment requirement. If like if we want to specify that our integer should be multiple of 4, in that case it will maintain that our each integer takes the 4 byte. And these are the different flags, so I will discuss about it below. And this is the uh, constructor function. So whenever we will try to create the cache, this constructor function will be called, and it will initialize the cache. So here we have different flag options. So in the first slab underscore hw cache underscore align, so it will try to align the each allocation into a specific cache line. And this slab underscore poison will allocate the memory, and it will fill that particular memory with the help with a specific initial value, so that we can specify this is the free available space. And in the slab underscore red zone, it will specify the red zone around the allocated memory, so that we can know the overflow, mm, or we can know where is the boundary of the allocated memory. And in this slab underscore panic, when it is not able to allocate the particular memory, it will create the panic in the kernel. And similarly, this is for the allocation of the memory for the DMA purposes. And this is the counterpart of this create function to destroy a specific cache structure for a particular object type. And uh, this is the function to allocate a specific object from a specific created cache. So this is the pointer to the cache, and this is the flag that we specify. And this is the counterpart to free a particular object uh, from a particular cache. So this slab allocator does all the things, like it does the low level alignment, coloring, allocations, freeing, and wrapping during low memory conditions. So it does these things automatically. So when we are trying to uh, create objects more frequently, then we can use the the slab allocator. So in the kernel space, we have the option of stacks as well. So the size of the per process kernel stack depends on the architecture and the compile time options. But in most of the cases, we try to keep the kernel stack as the single page, because we want to minimize the use of the kernel stack in the kernel space. So we maintain two kind of kernel stack. One is for interrupts, and we call it as the interrupt stack, and it is per processor. So we maintain it for each processor, but we maintain kernel stack for each processes that we run in the system. So we always try to minimize the usage of the kernel stack, because when the overflow of the kernel stack happens, then it can lead to multiple problems, and it can corrupt the other processes data or some other important data in the kernel space. For example, as we have seen in the processes video, that thread underscore info structure is uh, stored at the bottom of the stack. So if our overflow happens, then we can delete this thread info structure. Also, it can lead to the machine crash, and we can corrupt the data of other processes or the important data in the kernel space. So let's now discuss the memory mapping of high memory region. So in the x86 architecture, the memory uh, beyond 896 MB, it is called as the high memory, and it is not permanently or automatically mapped into the kernel address space. So if you want to map some specific page into the kernel address space, then we have to call this function kmap, and similarly we can unmap the particular page with the help of kunmap function. And sometimes we require the mapping of a page into the kernel space, and we don't want to sleep. Then in that case, we can use this kmap underscore atomic function and kmap kunmap atomic function to deallocate the mapping of a page. And this km underscore type tells the purpose of the particular page allocation in the kernel space. So we have some data that is specific for specific CPUs, and that data is called as the per CPU allocations. So that data is specifically used by a particular CPU. So in that case, we don't want to use the lock, because that data is will be used by only single processor. So other processor won't be sharing that particular data. So we don't require any lock, but we require the kernel preemption disabling. So for that purpose, we implement the kernel disabling kernel preemption with the help of this function. So here in this function, it will provide the particular CPU, and it will also disable the kernel preemption. And when we return the CPU, then it will automatically will enable the kernel preemption. So this function gets the ID of a particular processor, but it does not disable the kernel preemption. So these are the interfaces that we can use in the compile time and the runtime. So in this way, we can define a particular data type for for each CPU, and then we can increment those variables with the help of this get CPU underscore var and then name. So here we are incrementing this particular variable. And similarly, we have this function per CPU. So as we have discussed here, okay. So we this per underscore CPU. So it will get this CPU, and it will get that particular variable, and it will operate on that particular variable. And all these functions also disable the kernel preemption, and this function will enable the kernel preemption. This will disable the kernel preemption. So these interfaces we can't use in the uh, in the dynamic fashion. So we can't use them for the modules that is the dynamically loaded into the kernel. So for that purpose, we have these specific interfaces for allocations for each CPU. So we can use alloc underscore per CPU, and we have to provide the type of the allocation and that we want to do. And similarly, we can free the per CPU data from this function. So I already have discussed the reasons to use per CPU data. So like we don't need any lock. Also, there is less cache thrashing because the data is maintained by per processor. So the cache is highly sync with the processor. So it does not lead to high cache thrashing, and but it requires the kernel preemption disabling that we have already discussed. So we can use these data to like both interrupt context and the process context. So let's now discuss which method we can use in the which scenarios. So if we want the continuous physical address pages, then we can use the page allocator that we have discussed the function like alloc pages. Or if we want to the memory in the byte sizes, then we can use kmalloc. If we want to allocate the memory from the high memory area, then we can use alloc pages. And if we want to allocate the memory that is continuous in the virtual address space, then we can use vmalloc. And if we are creating and destroying frequently more frequently, then we can use slab allocator for this purpose. So in this video, we can say that we have discussed the Linux kernel memory management methods, and we have discussed how we can allocate and deallocate the memory in the byte sizes or pages or in terms of zones. And we have discussed the page allocator and the slab allocator. So this is all for this video. I will see you in the next video.